Oh my God, it's crashing again. Do you know what's coming next? That chart I just showed you guys that was crashing was the US Treasury bonds, the long bonds, the 20-year bonds, the 30-year bonds. As I have been warning you guys, the US Treasury credit is in trouble, right? What does that mean? That means if the Treasury bond prices are falling, then yields are spiking. If yields are spiking up, then that's pretty bad for the NASDAQ and probably for crypto as well, but more for the NASDAQ. And I have been warning about this. So we see here, for example, the United States 10-year Treasury yield, right? That's the interest rate the government, US government pays to borrow for 10 years, right? And look, it's about to make a new high again after, even though inflation is coming down. This is really not good news because everything is priced using the 10-year Treasury yield. If it spikes up, then that means NASDAQ stocks will seem very expensive. And this is what I have been warning for quite a while now. NASDAQ is ready for a big pullback, right? Because the US 10-year Treasury yields are rising, and also the NASDAQ itself has just had a very extended run to begin with. Now, what signs are we seeing right now for a NASDAQ pullback? Let's have a look at the earnings of Apple and Amazon. So Apple, for example, is doing one of those situations I have been warning about. See, on Thursday night, right, it reported earnings, and it beat earnings expectations and it beat revenue expectations, and yet still crashed down 5%, gap down on very large volume. And the problem with Apple is basically it has been beating revenue expectations, but it's still lower than what it was last year. So that's why we've had this pullback, right? This drop. But Apple can go probably even lower to around the 170 area, right? And what about Amazon? Amazon has reported great earnings. It's actually done really well. Except, so it gapped up about 8 to 9%, except it did this topping tail, massive topping tail, and it did it on very large volume. So I think Amazon is ready for a pullback as well. It'll probably at least close that gap and come back to 128, 129 area.
And Apple is the largest stock in the United States and, part of the SP 500 or the NASDAQ. So if Apple pulls back, then the whole index likely pulls back. If Amazon is also one of the large top 10, top 5 largest stocks out there. If Amazon and Apple, Tesla, they all pull back at the same time, then we're likely to see a 5 to 10% pullback from the NASDAQ, right? And the SP 500. That has been my message for the last number of weeks. Now let's have a look at the NASDAQ and the SP 500 charts. Here we see on the weekly chart, right? The SP 500 has closed weekly on large volume, right? Below this key support area around 455. So I think it's probably headed to this 430-ish area or 4,300 for